that sucker. He owes me one.
Thank thee now and eternally.
Well, looky there. Glad you could make the trip, your goddessness. I put your sigil magic on the young turd's bow, but then he and Sindri got into it over something. I don't rightly know who's yelling at who in there, but I figure they both got it coming.
Hello! Good to see the chimes working as intended.
You see him too? Ah, just kidding.
So, this whole spectral squirrel business. You can shoot out your feelings into little ghosties.
I suppose that is a slightly inelegant way of putting it. These spectral versions of myself are aspects of my personality that I often find distracting at best. My ability not only lets me cast them away and provide some temporary peace of mind, it also allows me to see what goes on outside the tree.
Why not just go look yourself?
As the eternal caretaker of the tree, I may not leave its confines. All part of the deal, but worth it for the immortality and such. My spectral forms still allow me to see the outside world, albeit through slightly colorful viewpoints.
That's one word for it. That bitter form of yours is a nasty piece of work.
I'm standing right here, you no-neck freak.
I'd apologize for him, but where would it end? Journey forth in health and safety, my friends.
Away with you already.
Talks to squirrels now, huh? Hey, you see we're waiting for you, right? Well, come on, then. Hey, Tyr! Wake up! You got company. Now, why don't you just make yourself at home in Sindri's so-called study over yonder?
You're sure he won't mind?
Mind? You'll be thrilled. Joint's getting classier by the day.
Can it be? I never thought I'd have the pleasure of seeing you again, Frigg.
Don't call me that. I haven't been that person in a long time. But I'm happy to see you too. I'd feared the worst for so long, what you must have been through.
Nothing so bad as what you've suffered. Freya, I am so sorry to hear what happened to Baldur. He was only a boy when I saw him last, but I know he meant more to you than anything.
Yes.
And to forbear your vengeance in this way, it's truly an inspiration for those of us who believe in peace.
The only peace these realms will ever know is once Odin is gone. Believe in that.
So you're not here to prevent Ragnarok, you're here to bring it about.
I'm here to make sure Odin doesn't hurt anyone, the way he hurt us.
I can see I've upset you. Forgive me. I am far removed from my days of diplomacy.
But you were gone for 2 days, with nobody to watch your back. I'm your partner. We're not supposed to keep secrets.
You sound just like Father. Whose side are you on?
Whose side? I don't know. What does it even mean to be on your side right now? How do I know you won't be running off to Asgard next?
If I did, at least I'd be somewhere I could make a difference.
Now that is crazy talk. That is the craziest of all possible talks.
Why? Odin had the chance to kill me, but he didn't. He offered to teach me. Maybe if I had more answers, I could prevent...
Prevent what? What is this about?
It doesn't matter. Just let it go, okay?
But you were gone for 2 days, with nobody to watch your back. I'm your partner.
I truly thought we'd seen the last of Tyr. Perhaps there really is cause for hope. If you have business in other realms before speaking to your son, I'll join you. It's been so long since I could travel at will.
Not too shabby having a proper goddess around the house. Try to stay on her good side this time, why don't you? Family crests? I'll take them.
If you're traveling, I'm coming with you. I didn't fight for my freedom just to stay cooped up. Alfheim? What's there?
We still have unfinished business there. We found a Hofgufa out in the Barrens, milady. In terrible pain. We freed it, but there's another intern somewhere beneath the Forbidden Sands.
A Hofgufa? I haven't seen one since I was a child.
And what else? There's still that secret elven library in Alfheim.
Lead the way.
Despite his actions in Midgard, Atreus does still care for you.
I know. I raised a son, too. It may be hard to believe, but he was quite similar to Atreus at this age. He adored his father, always wanted to do right by him, and was constantly frustrated that no matter what he did, he never could seem to get his approval. He confided in me a lot, sought the comfort his father withheld. I wonder if your son could benefit from that, too.
He has befriended the other dwarf. The blue one's brother.
Oh. Well, if Sindri has that covered, I suppose there's no need for me in his life anymore, is there?
That is not what I meant.
That was sarcasm.
Freya, there's something I've always wanted to ask. What was it Hrimthur whispered to you?
Who?
Hrimthur, the son of Thormur, the stonemason, who disguised himself and built Asgard's wall.
Oh, yes. One of the many occasions Odin saw fit to involve me in a wager without my consent. I wish I could say that was the worst of his husbandly habits.
What wager?
I've told this story, brother.
And now she may tell her own.
There isn't that much to tell. I knew nothing of it at first, surely because Odin didn't expect to lose the bet. A mysterious mason had to build the entire wall in 3 turns of the season.
2! It was 2!
And if he was late, he'd be owed nothing. But if he succeeded, he was promised an audience with the queen. Or so I learned one day when Odin burst into our bedchambers, raging and half-drunk before noon, telling me to get dressed and go see what the mason wants. So, off I went, not knowing what had truly been promised or expected. Dagger stashed in my robe for emergency. And this mason, this giant in disguise.
His name was Hrimthur.
He just smiled to see me. And as you said, he whispered in my ear. He said the Aesir had killed his father, and he needed to know that one day they'd burn for it. I pointed out I was Aesir now too, technically. He gave me a look, as if he somehow knew better, and continued. He said he'd built in a structural flaw behind the Asgard Realm Tower.
I knew it! How do we make use of it?
We don't. He said Surtur would know what to do. And if Surtur's approaching Asgard's wall...
Then it is already Ragnarok.
Aye, blast it. I hoped it might have given us another way.
Freya, something your brother said. The Aesir burned him.
Yes. We weren't yet at war, but relations with the Vanir and Aesir had been hostile for ages. Freyr got it into his head that he could improve relations by sharing our magic with them. Vanir techniques for bountiful harvests, enough to feed their whole population. Getting set on fire was the thanks he got.
It's true. The Aesir were too undisciplined and impatient for the subtlety of Vanir spellcraft. So when things went wrong, they blamed their teacher.
So Freya was a guest when Odin burned him?
Not exactly. Odin didn't mind locking Freyr up. He saw the potential of the magic and wanted to know more than how to improve crop yields.
Hold. Let us search this area.
Much of the sand has been cleared away, but another storm rages beyond that pass, which must mean...
Another Hafgufa.
Odd. It looks as though the Light Elves sealed off this section of the Barrens. Why?
Luckily for us, a very considerate goddess has enhanced our magic chisel, and we can unseal it.
My, that is lucky.
The Forbidden Sands lay beyond.
Contested territory, according to Bela. And another storm to endure.
I remember when Freyr and I traveled to this realm as children. The desert was healthy and full of life back then. I can't help but fear that era has ended for good and our efforts here are futile.
It's a fair concern. Healing this land will take more than a pair of singing Hafgufa. But I have to believe, in the long run, we're doing right by Alfheim. Well, best we start looking for a way underground.
Keep a lookout for a cave!
Jewelry.
Oh? Put it on one of my horns. Let's see if I can pull it off.
No.
archive of knowledge.
No sign of the Light Elves.
For now.
Maybe they've left for the day, and we can browse at our leisure.
These texts alone are not enough to end the Elven War. But restricting their access only serves those who wish to prolong it.
Taking a page out of Odin's book.
Aye. Quite the advantage for the Light Elves.
This book is sealed, but there is an inscription. The console.
Big Veer spoke of an exile of the same name. Odds are he'd like a gander at that particular text. So, these are the Valine schematics, eh?
You know of him.
Aye. One of the most gifted dwarven smiths around. Until he developed a conscience, anyhow. Ah, it appears the librarian would like a word.
Lata Framborg.
Sounds like she wants that journal back.
No.
Shield strike!
They're healing! Yourself, Lord, Megivita. Helga Brotina.
She thinks she's protecting them by hiding all this knowledge away.
Our ally wishes to read this journal. We are taking the book.
I'm impressed. Thought you were going to end her.
When last we traveled here, after Faye passed, I killed an elf of great importance. The ramifications were dire for his people. I do not wish to make the same mistake twice.
I see an entrance! I hope Freyr will appreciate our work here in the desert. I wonder if he knows how poorly this realm has fared in his absence.
Aye. Hearing the Song of the Sands again is a rare privilege, even if it's only a solo act.
Or a duet, once this Hofgufa is free. This architecture. It is not of the Dark Elves.
An abandoned ancient settlement, by the looks of it. Built long before the Lightwell's creation.
More hive matter as well.
I'd say we're on the right track then.
Locked.
Could I reach it from down here? This kind of hive material is sensitive to sound. How odd. When I last came here with you and Atreus, I assumed the absence of Alpine light was an aberration. I didn't realize it was covered by hive matter.
Aye. And as far as the Dark Elves are concerned, it's that light column in the center of the temple that's the aberration. Just look at how old some of these surfaces are. Far older than the Lightwell, or even our trapped Hafgifer for that matter.
That's quite the empathetic perspective, Mimir.
Well, dangle from a burly god's backside for a few winters, and you'll find yourself looking for all sorts of new perspectives.
More hive, but denser. Too thick for that. Maybe the Twilight Stone on the ground will help. Well, there you go.
Wretch on the left! temple's about to explode!
From behind! Incoming! Enemy behind you, Kratos! Enemies to your left!
Behind you! Incoming! Behind you! Poison!
Alpha! Light elves. Alpha! Incoming right side! Enemy behind you!
Poison! Right flank! Last one!
Light elves don't often travel underneath the barons, do they?
Territory changes hands often in Alfheim. Or so it appears.
Big Veer did mention that these ruins have historical significance for the Light Elves. I assume they're only here to keep intruders out.
Well, at least they tried.
I suspect the corpse below would disagree.
That dense hive is blocking the way. There must be a way past. Look there. That hive doesn't like sound, remember?
Good eye. Let's continue, shall we?
Incoming poison up above! Enemy behind you! Right leg!
I hope freeing these Hofgufas will allow them to breed again. It was a dazzling display once. The skies of Alfheim filled with their song.
I imagine it's the lack of fresh light that's caused this pair to grow abnormally large. No use in having babies if there's nothing for them to feed on.
Trying to protect their children from a harsh world. I can relate. wonder if these two comprehend the choice they face once freed.
What choice do you speak of?
The life cycle of the Hofgufa. In order to breed, they must pass on their light to their children.
And without light, they will die.
I suppose that's all any of us can hope for in the end. That our death has purpose. That we can live on through our children. Given another chance, I know what choice I would make. Good. Almost there. Well done. Time to set it loose.
Aye. Back to the surface, then. Used in many of Freyr's blessings, I imagine.
The fate of these creatures, it reminds me of a story.
Does it?
There once was a blacksmith whose king commanded him to construct a box that could contain all the evils of the world. But no metal could hold such a power. So the blacksmith used the flame.
Kratos, is this a story meant to ease my grief?
Perhaps it is just a story. A way to pass the time.
I appreciate the sentiment, but... well, your stories...
What about my stories?
I wouldn't exactly call them a comfort.
Fair. Mimir is a better storyteller.
Now, don't sell yourself short, brother. You've come a long way from the days of laconic fables.
It's okay. Finish your story, Kratos.
The blacksmith's daughter was the key to unlocking the box. He died trying to protect her from those who would open it.
Well, at least it's a relatable story.
appears we've overstayed our welcome in Alfheim.
Right side!
Time to end this storm.
Stories are of no comfort. Take solace in knowing you did what you thought was best for your son's safety. Even these creatures know. There is little choice for a parent. You are not alone.
I'm not, am I? And now neither are they.
Wow. Didn't know I could get misty. It's beautiful.
Thank you, Kratos. This land sings once more. We've done good here.
No rush to leave yet, is there? Who knows what kind of adventures await us in our freshly lit barrens?
A statue of my brother. How quaint.
That's odd. The runes are dark.
What purpose does all this serve, other than a testament to my brother's vanity?
Difficult to say without an inscription. But it looks like the elves built this place together, light and dark. Which means this would have been their first act of cooperation in generations. A far cry from lasting peace, but perhaps it served as a monument, one that symbolizes the potential for peace.
statue may have survived Freya's absence, but a truce clearly did not. Monuments are useless to those who ignore their message.
He didn't create a truce through diplomacy alone. His godhood, his very presence is what healed this land and allowed peace to take root. But once he left, he had to have known what would happen.
Well, he had good reason to leave. Some jackass convinced his sister to marry a madman.
You said monuments are useless. Why restore this one?
It was hidden for some time. Perhaps now it can serve as a reminder.
Aye. Nothing reminds people of their history like chiseled, well-lit marble.
These crystals contain their own light.
You're right. Normally we'd have to provide our own. Perhaps slotting a crystal on the opposite side could shed some light on this mystery.
That did something. The ring of crystal shards glow.
Looks like we can read the inscription now as well.
light from the crystals. It is in the sand now.
Would you look at that? Freyr's gift endures after all. Or should I say, his presence?
You are not funny.
Even when Freyr was actually here, the peace was fragile. Surely a bit of extra light in the desert isn't enough to make it last.
Before I met Faye, I could not imagine a life of peace. After her death, in our travels to Jotunheim, I found peace on my own. It remains my responsibility to make it last.
Perhaps the elves will find peace again one day, even without Freyr's guidance.
His presence continues to guide them, whether they realize it or not. What did you mean when you said Frey was not exactly a guest of the Aesir?
I meant by the time they burned him, he'd been a prisoner for some time. It was a mob of lesser Aesir, bitter and short-sighted, who tied him up and lit him aflame as punishment for the sabotage they imagined him guilty of. Obviously, he survived. In fact, he used the opportunity to escape. But such an affront made war inevitable.
Freyr certainly wasn't the same after that. At least for a while. His carefree ways were replaced with nightmares, paranoia, and lashing out. It doesn't excuse what he said at my wedding, but I do understand where his anger came from.
Find you!
Light orb! Throw your weapon at it!
Light elf architecture. Massive.
Locked. It requires 2 keys.
What are they keeping back there?
That's the beauty of a locked door. It could be anything. Monsters, treasure. Knowing our luck, it'll be a bit of both.
A token.
A badge of honor. The elves made a few of these. They'd hang them up outside their dwellings. Show their support for my brother.
Nasty hit! You alright, brother?
Come on, Kratos! Off your back!
Take it off, man! You got this!
Behind you! Look out!
Come on, Kratos! Off your back! Behind you, brother! Behind you! Perhaps we can bring these two animals back to Vanaheim, or Midgard even. Specky and Spanna could use the company. We have kennels.
It would not go well for them. Once a predator becomes accustomed to a land, it is cruel to move them.
I suppose you're right. It just seems lonely out here.
It is peaceful. They have each other. It is enough.
Freya, I've always wondered, why was Freyr so revered here so quickly upon his first arrival?
Well, to begin with, it wasn't his first arrival. Very few know this, but Freyr was one of the earliest visitors to Alfheim, back in the dawn of realm travel.
Oh, a bit before my time. You tell.
We believed for a long time that all the giants had died in the flood, until one of them appeared in Vanaheim. Her name was Gerd, and she came offering to teach us the secrets of traveling between realms using Bifrost light. Freyr became immediately infatuated with her. He always yearned to wander, and along came someone who could truly show him how. So, wander they did, exploring the world tree from root to branch. But one day, it came time for Gerd to wander away. Freyr was heartbroken, and resolved himself to perform some great feat to win her back. He set his aim on the grandest of gestures. He intended to be the first to find the elusive source of Bifrost light. And he succeeded, although quite by accident. Freyr believed he navigated best while fortified by a potent blend of Vanir herbs. When he wandered, he wandered. And he managed to wander from the World Tree directly into the Lake of Souls. The elves have never seen anybody come out of the lake before, so it got some attention.
Oh, that is bloody hilarious.
I don't know whether he worked his charms at that point or they just assumed him to be a great deity. But of course, he hadn't made this journey in search of responsibility, so he didn't stick around long. Still, the legend of his manifestation was passed along through the ages. It even endured after the Great Division, remembered by Light and Dark Elf alike. So when at last he returned, he was uniquely situated to gain the trust of both sides and help to create a truce. The problem was, both sides trusted only him, so the peace could only last as long as he stayed around to keep it. And with the long war dragging on without an end in sight, I suppose making any kind of peace was an irresistible notion for him, even if it meant having to rule.
What is that?
A phantom! Rogue magic! Aim for the runic core!
Bloody hell, look at that thing!
It's vulnerable when it glows!
Nicely done! Keep on it!
Now, attack!
Nicely done! Keep on it!
Attack the springs! Hurry before it recovers!
Give yourself an opening! Don't waste it! Not so intimidating without your springs, are you? Well, yet another gift of Fimbulwinter, I suppose.
The magic draining out of all of us has to end up somewhere.
Come on, brother. Let's have it. You mentioned you had a favorite poem from your homeland. What was it about?
A cunning general. A war over forbidden love.
I believe I've heard of this one. Did it involve a horse that was not as it appeared?
Yes, but that is not what happened.
Oh, it's based on truth then. And you were there.
Yes. I prefer the poem.
Ah, another of Kvasir's poems.
You know, Freyr loved to breed Gulan pups in Vanaheim. I wonder if these two are the descendants of the Gulan he brought here long ago.
That explains how they got to the desert. Another gift for the Dark Elves. I wonder, how'd these two pups end up yoked to the sled?
Ever try flying in a sandstorm? I imagine Freyr showed the Dark Elves that Gulon could be trained to pull a plow. They must have found new uses for them once the sandstorm arrived. I imagine they're now bred to aid in traveling the surface. Mimir, I never asked how it felt to lose your head.
What would you have me say? That it tickled?
Merely curious.
If you wish to derive some satisfaction from my pain, I'm afraid you'll be disappointed. Kratos swung swift and true, didn't you, brother? I felt nary a scratch.
Shame.
lady. I was curious about some of the flora we'd encountered on our travels.
And you will remain curious. It's not my job to teach you everything, Amir.
Look, I was just asking.
And you have been told.
Oh, you can say that again.
You know, I would have beaten you.
What?
Earlier. If Atreus hadn't been there.
Perhaps.
We could go again. Find out for certain.
I would rather not.
I'll bet you wouldn't.
Brother, I had a thought. What if we took a stealthy approach to our next battle?
No.
Do you regret it, Mimir?
Most likely. What are we talking about in particular?
Giving up your body?
Do I regret exchanging my life for my freedom? That's a question I ask myself every day, my lady.
What about today?
Today? Glad to be out in the world. How else could I spend such quality time with you?
Okay.
Freya, you once revived a giant's corpse to stop a certain fight. We won't talk about. Could you call on that power again?
Maybe. Do you have a massive giant's corpse for me to revive?
No?
Well, there you go.
The second key.
Sure enough. It's been a bit since we've unlocked a mysterious door. Excited, brother? Classic.
Kratos, tell me of an adversary from your homeland. It will serve us well if I understand more of your battle tactics.
There was Medusa, queen of the Gorgons. Her gaze turned men to stone. A mirror would turn her own powers against her. Or, you may remove her head, but that is the hard way.
Which did you choose?
The hard way.
Forget I asked. Something is coming, and it's not happy.
It's about to charge!
What on earth was a drake doing back there?
Your guess is as good as mine. Imprisoning a drake. Can't decide whether to be impressed or horrified.
Either way, it is over now.
I must say, I think we make a good team. With my brains, Kratos' brawn, and my lady's,
Wisdom? Magic? Ability to tolerate you for long periods of time?
I was going to say brutality.
That works.
Would have been a shame to have left that behind.
Let's make something then. And now for the goddess. The Aesir will be running scared. Big man. That'll mess some folks up. Need something special? Ready when you are. The stream of anguish. I'll be damned. What's the Witch of the Woods need? Make up your mind?
What's this?
Ah, a memory of war. You could use this as a training arena if you like. You'll just be fighting the recollections of enemies. They won't be able to harm you.
Prepare yourself.
Enemy behind you, Kratos!
Behind you, brother!
Enemy behind you, Kratos!
Rocket on the left!
Incoming! Left side! Enemy behind you, Kratos!
That's doing him.
Enemy behind you, Kratos!
Yeah!
Rocket on the left!
Enemy behind you, Kratos! Enemy behind you, Kratos! Enemies to your left! Incoming back here!
Last one! Another Drogar to the left!
Enemy behind you, Kratos! Enemy behind you, Kratos! Good riddance! Enemies to your left! Enemy behind you, Kratos!
Behind you! Incoming!
Enemies To your left! Enemy behind you, Kratos!
Behind you! Look out!
Enemies on the left! Enemy behind you, Kratos! Incoming left side!
That was instructive. What is this?
Ravens. The ones we've been destroying. Odin's little spies.
Free are we, free of the Father. Our half-lives now belong to no other.
The father. Odin, I presume?
I don't know. But there's definitely something more going on here.
Do we have to be here? Creeping me out, all these poor bastards with their souls cut up.
We're heading back to Vanaheim?
There's still a few loose ends to tie up. We've still got to find that mysterious orb for Lunda. Also what? You asked us to explore the river delta with you. Perhaps it's time we did so.
I'm with you.